Okay, I don't know what's happening with my thing. I don't know if this is live or not, but my computer just doesn't seem to be connecting to what's happening here. I don't know what's going on. I can't see any of your guys' comments. I don't know what's happening with my computer here. I've been working on this project and I guess my thing wasn't working. I'm having technical difficulties and I am so sorry. Um, everything that I've done up until this point, I just sprayed this piece down. I contoured the face and I thought it was recording this, that I was live. It was showing that if the live was working, but then when I went to check on my page, nothing was there. So I literally just did that, this whole face, and you guys didn't see any of it. I'm getting ready to do the makeup part, but really quickly I can just recap what we did with the shading on the face. I'm so bummed out that my video, it said that I was live and it was showing live up in the corner, red live, but I couldn't see any of the comments. I couldn't see my video. I couldn't see who was watching. And so I wasn't sure if it was working. Well, it turns out it doesn't look like it was working. So you guys missed all of that. So really quickly, we'll just go over it again really fast, okay? Since you guys didn't see it. I'm not going to put a lot of powder on, but I'll show you exactly what I did. So I'm working with burnt sienna tint to shade to start. And I'm using this number 8 Craft Smart brush from Michaels. It's just a soft pointed tip like watercolor brush. And I'm sorry, Renee, you guys, if you were waiting for me, I was recording the whole time I was on live, but it wasn't working. And I thought, well, let me check my messages really quick to see if I had a message from you, and it did. It said I wasn't on, so I apologize. So I'll really quickly, we'll go over what we did. So I've already contoured her face. I'm getting ready to start the makeup. And I just went out and sprayed this. So really quickly, I'm dipping in the burnt sienna. We're starting over here in this corner, working up underneath the headband, going up underneath the eyes and under the eye and pulling that shadow all the way around. And you guys, you can watch the video from the mask video that I did this last week to see how the contouring works. It's the same concept, you know, no matter what colors you're using. So once I got all the burnt sienna laid down on here, then I went ahead and came back to my tint. And all we did was accentuate what's already here what we dry brushed earlier. So I went ahead and sprayed this once. I'll go back and add another like lighter, one more pass of the burnt sienna tint on the tops of the cheeks just to lighten them up a little bit more and show you guys kind of how I blended that out. So I've got quite a bit of powder on my brush here. And like I said, I just sprayed my first coat of pastels down. So this is like blending, you know, there's no color to blend in with this. It's just going to lighten this up some. So I'll go ahead and up underneath the eye a little bit and lighten this a little. I probably went up a little bit too far, but it's okay. Because we are going to put some blush on her, so that's what you would do. You're going to do your tints on your cheeks once you get it laid down. I want to put up there pretty far on that. Okay, so I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to see all that. I'm super bummed that that didn't work out. But you're going to get to see the funnest part, which is the makeup. So let me hit this little brow bone one more pass here with a little bit of more of that tint. I'll run out and spray this thing one more time really quick and then we'll do the makeup. This contouring went way faster than the mask we did the other day because I didn't have the mistake with the black getting in the powder. And that's why her skin ended up looking so dark. I didn't have that this time. So this contouring job went much quicker than that last one. So I'm going to go and spray this really quick and I'll be right back with you guys. I am working with the Krylon matte finishing spray. So this is going to be my second layer of spray on here. Actually, I think I need a tiny little bit of burnt sienna right here to blend this. Looks a little spotty right here. Just add a little bit more burnt sienna here and blend this out. Okay, be right back. Hang tight, please. Okay, so this stuff dries really quick. I generally just go out and spray it, come in and keep working. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my little eye makeup brush, and you guys, like I said, I don't know what kind of brush this is or who makes it. It's just a makeup brush. I'm gonna switch to my red iron oxide colors, and I did grab the tip, and I need the tip. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the red iron oxide. Pick up a little bit of that, and we're gonna start on the inside of our eyelid here. We'll work that back and forth. Really push that powder deep into the eye crevice. I can't believe I did almost 45 minutes worth of shading and nobody saw any of that. Okay, so I go ahead and do the whole top of the eyebrow with my base color, which is iron oxide. There's 4 shades of each color. There's an, I know we talk about this a lot, but I only have 2 here. I have iron oxide, red iron oxide shade. There's a red iron oxide extra dark, and there's a red iron oxide tint. So I always start with just my plain color. This is just plain red iron oxide. So that's like my medium color, my midpoint color. So I start off with that color here, and then on the inside of the eye, we're going to do a lighter shade and a darker shade on this side. But we need our initial color up in here first. So okay, and then I don't know if you guys saw the video Renee posted, but I'm going to, if you guys start sharing and liking these, commenting on these videos, I'm going to start giving away these pieces. And so if you share what I paint, I'm going to start giving away. So for every share of a video that you guys do of these in groups or comments, the more that you share and the more that you engage with this content, the better your odds are for winning a piece. So that looks pretty drastic. I'm going to take some of this paint out of this brush and, out of this powder out of this brush a little bit. I'm just going to kind of blend this line out a little bit here, soften this up some. Okay, now I'm just going to use white because I want the inside of our eye to be pretty bright here. I'm going to pick up my number 4 Winsor & Newton Cotman brush, which is kind of like my go-to. And I'm just going to pick up white because, the tint would work too, but I want the inside of her eye to be really bright. So I'm going to just pick up white just on the inside here. Go all the way over to the top of the tear duct with the white. We just want to place it in the corner here, basically, about to midway across the eyelid here. Come over and do it on this side. Now you could use a different color, whatever. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm just using these colors in this family to kind of make it look like makeup, but I also maybe hopefully it'll look kind of natural. Now remember, your red iron oxide up on top here is live. hasn't been sprayed down. So if you get your brush into that red iron oxide, it's going to mix. So that's why I'm working from this direction, because I don't want it to mix. I just want them to bump up against each other. Okay. I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab my little, this is just a number 1 brush. I'm going to grab that and come back to my white. If you guys missed the video that I did earlier, I said this, but I wasn't on live, I guess. If you missed the dry brushing video and how we got to this point, you can watch that earlier. I did that Facebook Live on that today. 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think it was. So I'm just highlighting the top of the eyelid here. You don't have to do this part at all, or you can do it just like with a white colored pencil at the end, but I like to kind of have a base highlight line. You can come back and kind of blend that out, soften it up some. Okay. Make sure you go all the way into the corner of the eyeball. And you don't need a lot of powder, so you just need to lay a little tiny brush, just lay it down right on the top. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take my red iron oxide shade. Thank you, Val, I appreciate that. I went back and did more beading on the headbands so that it would pop a little bit more. I'm going to go back to my number 4 brush and my extra dark, or my dark shade here. And now I'm going to go on these corners of the eyelid. Right up to the midpoint where we laid the white down, and we'll kind of marry those 2 colors there. You can kind of get in the crack or in the crevice a little bit to accentuate that dark color. Okay, now you can kind of come up and marry these 2 colors here. And blend them together. Okay, maybe you want to come down a little bit here on this underneath side. I've seen girls in videos do a little bit of makeup down underneath here. So you can pull just a little bit of that color up underneath the eye. And we did the eyes different in this video than the one we did yesterday or last week. So again, if you guys missed that, it was a 2 hour, 10-minute Facebook Live on dry brushing this morning. That's on the Hope and Dimples page too. You can catch that if you missed it earlier. Okay, I'm just really trying to blend these 2 colors here. So I need to come over a little bit farther. Come over and blend this just a tad, a little bit more here. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit more and go underneath the side. I didn't grab a lot because I forgot I've got the darker shade here. Okay, might want to come in here and just soften that white line up a little bit. Okay, looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to grab the tint. Actually, let me see. We'll use the bronzer on her cheeks because I got this copper color. And I think I'm going to just see how it works. It might not work, and I might have to go to the tint. But I feel like this might work on her cheeks. So I'm going to just see how it looks on paper towel here. Yes, I can. Hi, Paula. Yes, you definitely can get depth adding the white colored pencil, and I'm going to do that at the end. So that's really pretty, and I think that will work really nicely for like a blush. So I'm going to go ahead and use, this is a number 6 craft spark brush. It's a little bit of a fatter, softer brush here. So we'll see how this does. It's really like giving it a bronze versus it like a blush. So I almost wonder if I need a blush first. Okay, so let's do this. Let me grab the tint. Whenever I'm doing makeup, I like to try to stay in the same family of colors. Like, could you put like a pink blush on her? Sure, but we're using reds and I don't want any pink on my piece. So this is red iron oxide tint, and I could for sure use this as my blush color. So I'm going to go ahead and pick some up here and just lay it down on the top first. Got quite a bit on there. It's not giving me a tremendous amount of contrast, which is okay. I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough of a contrast, because I really want to add that bronze, that copper color on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this tint on here. I'm going to spray this down one more time, and then we'll come back and add the bronze. So this is just a very subtle, different color change. It's not enough to, like, think about Native Americans back in the day. They weren't wearing a bunch of makeup. So I want her face to kind of be more natural than made up, So her cheeks are pretty bright, of course, but we're going to add a little bit of bronzer and hope we can be able to tone that down a little bit. But okay, now I'm going to go back to my red iron oxide. Actually, I'm going to grab the extra dark shade for the lip liner. Remember, all of these colors come in 4 different shades or tints, 4 different, ways these colors come. So here's the 4 red iron oxides. So I'm going to come back with my little tiny brush here. This is a number 1. Winsor Newton Cotman. These are series 111. They're watercolor brushes. They have a little bit of a pointed tip to them, and that's what we want when we're working with the pastels. So I'm going to create a line on her lips first. So I'm using the extra dark shade. I need my glasses on here. The first thing we're going to do is just come right up to the top of the lip line here. We don't want to go over our highlight. We're just going to follow along that highlight with our lip line. It doesn't have to be like a perfectly straight line because we're going to do some blending once we get it on here. But we definitely want that like definitive like M up here at the top of the lip. Now, if you want more color in her cheeks, for sure you can add some of just the regular red iron oxide. But, I'm going to see how it looks after I get the bronzer on there. Because, I always do like to start with a full face and then add the highlights and stuff after. So, we'll just see how this goes. So, we're going to come down on this side too. Not all the way to the bottom of the lip. But just above our highlight line here. And the same thing happened on the other mask. When you get to this part where it's bright, a bit brighter, it's going to take you a couple of passes of your pastel powder to cover that up. But just try to leave a little bit of a highlight line at the bottom of the lip. Okay, it's a pretty good starting spot here. I might want to darken it up one more pass across the bottom here. Okay, looks pretty good. Again, you know, you definitely could come up here and add some of this, but I think it's going to be super red if I try to add any on the cheeks. So I think the bronzer actually is going to be the way to go. So one more pass down here. I'm not getting very full coverage on the bottom lip here. Okay, so I've got my darkest color as my lip liner. Now I'm going to go back to the next step down in color, which was the red iron oxide. That's my lipstick color. Or you could go this route and do this color. I think I'm going to go the darker of the two. I'm going to go back to my number 4 Cotman brush. I'm going to pick up some of this color just on the tip there. I'm going to start laying it down along my lip liner line. This is going to be pretty dark lipstick. Okay, and then we're just going to marry those two colors together. So pull it from the line down to the inside of the lip and just shade those two colors together. Marry those two colors together, blend them, I should say, not shade. Okay, I'm going to pick up some more powder here and just start right in the middle. Now this is probably going to take, I'm probably going to have to spray this and come back and add another layer of paint, of powder, but that's okay. We want it to be fully covered, you know, we don't want any of that light color showing through. So if you have to do 1 or 2 coats, then, you know, do one or two coats or passes. So the lips are a little bit difficult because just because they're kind of textured. So that's my first layer of makeup. I mean, I guess her cheeks are pretty bright. And again, we haven't added any lashes. I could definitely paint thicker eyeliner on her. So let me go spray this really quick so we can do our second pass of color. Again, we're using the Krylon Matte Finishing Spray. And when you spray these pieces, you want to hold them pretty far away, at least 10 to 12 inches. I like to do about 18 inches and work in short, small bursts rather than this. And, you know, if you hold it really close, you're going to blow powder everywhere and it's going to be a mess. So we're going to go spray this down. Okay. So we're going to see how the bronzer looks. And we definitely need to shade in her hair and on the feather. But I'm going to go back and do one more pass on the lips. I'm going to come back to my lip liner again. Start with the liner. This is going to kind of like, it's going to darken the color, but it's also going to kind of soften the color as well. The brushes, don't forget the brushes are what really help. Oh, for sure. You guys, the brushes are everything. I mean, if you don't have good quality brushes, you know, your powder isn't going to blend well. You're going to have stuff all over. Just, you know, These Winsor Newton cotton brushes are the most expensive ones that I buy, but I also do use the Craft Smart brushes, which are value pack brushes, and they work really well for blending. These little tiny brushes work great for applying the color, but not so much blending the color. So once you get your, on a small area like this, once you get your color laid down, then it's generally a good idea to get a little bit of a bigger brush to do your blending with. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with, what color do we use? We used red iron oxide shade. So we'll pick up some more of that. We'll just lay a little bit more down on this top part of the lip here. Come back on the. Okay, I think I want a little bit more of contrast on her eyes. And so I think I'm going to add a little bit of this extra dark shade just in the crease of her eye up here. I'm going to use the number 4 brush. So I'm picking up the extra dark shade, just a tiny little bit right here. I'm just going to darken up this corner where I want a little more like pow, a little more contrast. Not a lot, but just a tiny little bit in this corner here. Okay. Over here and hit this corner a little bit. Okay, and just kind of work it, smooth it into that crease, but you want a nice transition. So the key is just blending, you guys. What do you think? How is she looking so far? It does just pop, doesn't it, Val? It's crazy, you know? And then once you get your corner color, your darker color down in your corner here, I'm gonna add just a little bit more so it kind of, it's a little bit more drastic. Pull it up a little bit farther into the middle of the eye. Okay, so that looks pretty good, I think. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just pick up a little bit more white. So I want to brighten up the corner of her eye even more a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my number 1 brush. I'm just going to pick up a tiny little bit of white here. I'm going to put it just in this corner. Go down to the top of the tear duct though. Remember, we've already done one pass here, but we sprayed that down. So now this is like getting full strength white on top here. It's not blending with anything because we don't have anything right in this corner to blend the white with. So this is full strength white. Oops, don't put your finger on the lips. Come all the way down there to the tear duct. And then again, I'm going to probably hit the tear duct on the bottom of the eye right here. Try to stay just on top of the eyelid. The corners of your eyes are the most bright, so. And we can again do this with a colored pencil at the end. I'm kind of just doing like, you know, one more coat here. Okay. And spray that down, right? Or did I need to go spray that? No, I can't remember. Okay, it looks like that's not moving. Okay, so I'm going to take this copper. I don't know what this is going to look like, but we're going to find out together. As usual, we're going to find out together, you guys. Okay, what do I have here? This is the number 6. Is this going to be enough? Now you could use, let's just get a mop brush. I have this big one, but this is a little bit too big. I love this for doing blush and stuff because it's so soft. But I also have these Wet n Wild mop brushes, these blender brushes. These come from the Dollar Tree, but I think Walmart sells Wet n Wild brushes too, and they're pretty inexpensive. So I've already cleaned this out pretty well. I used the magenta, this brush out with the magenta, and you do like, see, I've already cleaned it out, but you can see there's still quite a bit of powder on there. So you really want to make sure that you work as much of that powder out as you can. You can use paper towels. We have makeup cleaning brushes too, but I never have it on my desk. I always have paper towels, so that's generally what I end up using. So I'm going to pick up some of this copper. I want to load it. I want to try to get rid of that pink that's in there, that magenta color. So I'm just going to load this up and just wipe it down on here so that I'm blending the magenta out of there. You can see it's just transferring color on here. So plus I don't want a tremendous amount, so I don't know how it's going to look. So it's basically just kind of adding it's softening this up, but it's adding like a glitter sheen to it, which you can't really see in this light very well, but I'm just going to keep going down the cheek, down into the little crease right here in her face. Now this copper is from the pearlescent pack of pan pastels. It doesn't come with the 80 count kit. It's a separate 17 count set. I'm going to hit the top of the nose here. I just want to add some glitter bronzer on her face. So I'm going to hit the tops of the eyebrows with the bronzer. It's kind of just adding a really nice glitter effect to her face. And then I'm going to capture the top of the chin here, same deal. I wish you really could see it like I can see it. I'm gonna have to add more to it because it really toned the color down, but it doesn't look like it did that much in the video. You couldn't watch the live earlier, Christina? Oh my gosh, well, it'll be up there for you guys for at least 30 days, and then I'm probably gonna move it to YouTube. So it'll be there for a little while. So you can see that like really changed the kind of the whole look of her face. And I also did a little bit of gray in the corners of the eyes just to tone the eyes down a little bit. You can also hit the top of the Cupid's bow there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I really like the way this is looking. Hopefully you guys can see that sheen from the copper. Okay, let me see here. Let me just come down this part of the lip a little bit, this side of the face. I just really want this copper all over because it really bronzed her skin up nicely. Okay, I'm going to go spray this really quick. One more layer of spray. Hold, please. Okay. Just looking pretty. I still can see like some splotchy spots, but that just is what it is, you know? I mean, depending on what your bisque condition is like, you may just have that kind of situation, but you know, there's no getting around it sometimes when you're working with pastels. You can try to soften it up, but okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to take the magenta tint. I'm going to use my number 4 Winsor Newton brush. I'm just going to pick up a little tiny bit and just tint the inside of her lip here. It's just a tiny little highlight right here on the top of the mouth, on top of this bottom lip. And you can kind of go follow it up into the corner a little bit here, but really just want to focus on the outer part of the lip. And this will require me to spray this again, and you may lose a little tiny bit of that, but you don't want it to be a lot. You want it to be subtle. Okay, and then I am going to go ahead and I think I need just a tiny little bit more on the tip of her nose right here, just right on the button. And I'm using the burnt sienna tint, because any shading we did on our face, we did with burnt sienna. Okay, she's looking really pretty, I think. So I'm going to set these aside, these pastels aside for a second. I'm going to grab my high flow acrylic and my nail detail brush. I did the eyes earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and thicken up this eyeliner line underneath her eye. I'm going to be using the green. The green one is the longest of the nail detail brushes. Uh-oh. Paint in my brush. Those don't look like I rinsed it all the way out when I did this. It's a good thing I have two sets of these. Where's my other one at though? It's always when you need something, you can't find it. Didn't rinse that very good. So I've picked up some high flow acrylic on here. Let me push all these pastels out of the way. I still have live powder down on my face, so I'm going to be really careful not to touch a lot under here. Okay, I'm going to start in the corner, and I'm just going to thicken up this line underneath her eye here. So we're just going to lay that brush right down in the carved line of the eye, and just let those bristles fall into that carved line all the way up to the middle, and then you can stop there. You want to go half and half from each corner until you meet in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to come out pretty far on the eyelid. Because remember, we're going to put fake lashes on her, and we don't want that like highlight in between, so we're going to thicken up this underneath the eye area. And earlier today, I was talking about how, you know, when you're doing eyes, if you paint, I don't generally underline or outline the underneath part of the eyeball, because I feel like it makes the eyes look Egyptian almost, and that's just not a look I'm going for. So what I do is I come in the corner here, start pretty heavy with my brush stroke, and then as I work towards the middle, oh shoot, as I work towards the middle, you kind of lift the brush so that the end of your line gets smaller and smaller. I usually go about halfway and I just mess that up, but it's okay. Just keep rolling with it. So I'm coming up pretty high under the eyelid. You can see compared to this one, I've got quite a bit more black on there on this one. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to add even more, one more little coat under here, and maybe I can come out a little bit. If you want to do like out here part of eyeliner, I don't know if that's. I think people wear their makeup like that. I don't know. So I'm creating that really thick eyeliner line underneath the eyelid. Okay. Come over here and do this side. Just lay those bristles down in that carved line and let that brush pull the paint for you. Turn it upside down a little bit more. Thicken up that up into the eyelid. So that drastically changed the look of the eye by thickening up that underneath part of the lid. So come down here, come out a little bit farther like we did on the other eye. Just keep working a little bit farther up on that eyelid each time. Do I always spray before going in with pastels? No, you spray after you use pastels. You don't have to spray before. Wow, I was tipping it up. I got a little bit of paint right there. I need to come back in this crack right here and add a little bit more down on the bottom. So push down a little bit more pressure here, and as you get closer to the middle, lift up on the pressure so that that line just gets smaller as you go. I can't believe I messed that side up. But you can totally come on, you know, if you want to. Man, I got right there too. Shoot. If you want to come all the way over to the corner, that's completely, you know, your prerogative. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. I just generally don't. Let me see. When the brush is long, how do you control the flow? You don't put very much paint in there, and you just lay those bristles down in that groove, and just you turn the mask as you. Basically, what I do is I kind of just hold the paintbrush in there, and I kind of turn the mask as I go. Sometimes, you know, it requires more turning than others, but now I'm really torn about the eyelashes because right here I feel like I could paint some eyelashes and pull over here, but it's going to be really hard to make them look realistic if I have a split in the middle. So that's why I thought I would just leave those off for this time. Okay, I'm going to let those eyes dry for a second. I'm going to rinse this brush. I do have to spray them one more time because I laid those pastel powders down on the lip and more on the eyelid. So how many sprays will this be? 4? Hold please. Okay. So got that spray down. You can see where on the top of the lip I lost. Oh, I meant eyebrows. You're right. I did mean eyebrows. Sorry. You can see I lost some of that tint on the top of the lip, but you can also see it kind of stayed there. I still have a little bit of that highlight color there. So while that's drying a little bit, I'm going to grab my colored pencil, my white Prismacolor colored pencil. Let me sharpen this thing really quick. Should I put glitter on her eyebrows or on her eyeshadow, you guys? Or should I just leave it more of a natural look? I feel like the glitter just really makes the eyeshadow look really pretty. So I've got a pretty sharp colored pencil here. Now I'm going to go along my high spots on her face. I'm going to go on the top of the eyelid here, all the way into the tear duct. All the way into that tear duct there. Now it's very important to use a sharp pencil when you're doing this. And hold the pencil in a horizontal position. If you hold it up and down, you're gonna end up with a mess everywhere, and this is permanent. So if you accidentally go like this, it's gonna be stuck on there. So hold it very horizontally. You just want to be picking up the color on the high spots of the face. So on the top of the Cupid's bow here, we're going to need a highlight. Top of the lip. You guys let me know if you think I should put glitter. Oh, leave it natural? Okay, that was easy. I like it natural too on this lady. So we'll go ahead and come down about halfway. I'm also going to highlight the top of her lip. And then I'm going to create the little highlight lines on the lip too. And in the last video I did it with the paints, but I'm going to do it with the colored pencil this time. So I'm going to come up the side of the lip here. All right. Now I'm just going to create some tiny little lines on the lip here. Quick little single stroke lines. You kind of follow the lip shape. You don't have to do the whole entire bottom of the lip. We just want it like kind of in the middle, about 3/4 of the way out there. And then we also can do it on the top of the lip too. Now you can do this with a colored pencil or you can do it with a paintbrush, you know, a nail detail brush, whichever you want. Okay. So I'm also going to go ahead and hit the edge of her headband. Again, I want to be holding it in a very horizontal position so that that wax from the pencil just picks up on the hard edge. I'll come around here. Now, I haven't even gotten to the hair and the feather yet for the pasteling part, but we'll go ahead and do this. I usually do this part very last, but I'm just going to do it right now. This is a super important step because, you know, you have a natural highlight on the edges of everything. And plus it just makes the piece pop when you do that. So, all right, so I've got a nice highlight on the bottom of my eyelid here. I'm going to go ahead and flip her around, and I'm just going to create a highlight on the eyelid itself, just on the high spot here. And again, look how I'm holding the brush, the pencil in a very flat horizontal position. Now I like using colored pencils for this because I have a lot more control over this tiny little area. But you could also dry brush white on here on the edges if you wanted, but that's not really my jam. Marilyn, hi Marilyn. This Bisque is from Trixie Savage. She has Blue Eye Ceramics and she is on Facebook. She also is in the Friends of Hope and Dimples group, so you can find her there. And she's also in the Ceramic Rants and Raves group, and you can find her there. She ships out of Oregon. She has a lot of masks. The next mask we're going to do will be next week, and I have the tiger mask. That was the second. That particular piece was really close, you guys. So I'm going to paint all the masks I have. I just want you to kind of vote in order for how you want me to do those. So that looks pretty good. You know, you can go ahead and take your white colored pencil and go along your edges of your feather and all your high spots on here. Makes a huge difference. And, you know, I think probably, I don't know, I might want to put some teal pastel in these flowers. In the leaves. Feathers, the feathers. You can come up here on your high spots, really accentuate those high areas. Just putting this around the outside edge makes a huge difference. And I just dry brushed the outside of these feathers with that ruby color that we did the headband with. doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of looking for like a contrast line around the edge here. You see how it just completely changes the look of the feather by doing this white highlight line around the edge. Move it down here, I don't know. Definitely these higher spots. Okay. All right. So I haven't done the shading on the hair, but I guess I can do that after. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to see the black shading on her hair. We can glue her eyelashes on really quick. Our eyes are dry, so I'm going to go ahead and put my Tamaya clear gloss acrylic on the eyes and lips. Let me just hit this little highlight line down here. I've got a little scraggler. Okay. Hi, Joan. Thank you so much. I think her eyes did turn out pretty, and that's just another way to do eyes, you guys. There's a million ways, like we talked about. Okay, so I've got this Tamaya clear gloss glaze. There's a link to this on my website. I get this on Amazon. I do not get any kind of, like, I'm not an affiliate for this. I just have the link for it. And, oh, hold on, you guys, 1 second. I need to grab the eyelashes. Okay, let's go. Come on. And I talked about these in the last video. These are from Ulta Beauty. It's a 6-pack that I picked up for $12.99. They're Ardell Professionals, and it's just a natural length. So I got 6 pairs of those for $13. So I'm going to go back to my trusty MAC Tidwell brush, the stubby brush. We're going to go ahead and put our gloss on her eyes and on her lips. I learned about this stuff by watching doll painting videos on YouTube. People who do doll painting, repainting videos, they use this gloss on the lips and the eyes of like baby dolls and stuff. And usually you want to do this last because it is high gloss. So if you spray your matte sealer on top, it's going to take away from the sheen of it. Hi, Tammy. Thank you guys for coming back and watching this video. I appreciate y'all so much. And I don't know if you saw the beginning, we were talking about giving these pieces away. I'm going to start giving these pieces that I paint away for you guys to one lucky winner. So every time you guys share, you know, these videos, these free demos in this Your Ceramics group or on your personal page, you're going to get an extra entry into winning these pieces. So this clear gloss glaze is just like putting lip gloss on her lips, and you can see it covers over the white colored pencil that we put down just fine. I love this part. I just feel like this is such a crucial part of the makeup phase. And this one didn't take nearly as long as the other girl. I'm letting those eyes kind of dry a little bit here. Okay. So let that sit for a minute. I'm gonna rinse my brush. Now for the lashes, I'm not going to cut the lashes on this one. I'm just going to leave them as is. I don't want to do too much fooling with that. I'll glue the lashes on, and then, you know, I can work on, shading the hair. It's just going to be a little bit of black around the face, but we'll get the lashes on first. Okay, so when I do the lashes, I just use the Lean's tacky glue. You don't have to use anything crazy like ES6000 because we're not gluing plaster together on this. We're just gluing these lashes on. So just gonna squirt a little bit onto my paint tray. Tiny little drop right here in this corner. And I'm gonna take one of my nail detail brushes with the daughter tool on the end, and we'll use that to apply the glue. Just looking for the one I need. I'm gonna use this one that's on the end of the light pink nail detail brush. It's kind of just like a pointer. It's not really a daughter tool. We'll start with one lash here. Yesterday when I did this, I put the lash on upside down because I don't deal with makeup at all, so I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, you guys. I'm the first to admit it. Just gonna lay a tiny little bit of tacky glue down on the edge here, just like you would for real nail eyelashes, real glue. Wipe that excess glue off of there. Okay, and I'm gonna start about not all the way in the corner of the eye, just about right there, about halfway up where the eye starts to move in the upward direction. Push it down right. We want to glue it down right above that white highlight line that we put down with the colored pencil. Did I put these on right? I hope I did. Push this one down in this corner a tad, a little bit more. I need a little more glue in this corner. And you can lay it right down on the eyelid too if you'd rather do it that way. That's a pretty good amount of glue down there. Okay, and it's because it's tacky, it's going to allow us to push that lash around and get it where we want before it dries down. So I need a little bit on the end here where it's not sticking on the end. These things are such a hassle. I don't know how anybody wears these on their face. I'm just like, oh. And once you get them on there, they're so thick. Okay, so I'm just gonna push that down in this corner here. And the tacky glue does dry clear, so don't worry about, you know, you can kind of push it more in a vertical position. I really hope, did I put those on right? I don't even know. Yes, I think so. Oh man, I don't know. I'm not a beauty aficionado, you guys. Okay, so I mean, you can kind of push it down a little bit so they stick out more. They lay a little bit flatter, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And then of course, once you get it on there, if you need to come back and do more black underneath the, up underneath the eye, you know, eyeliner to marry those two things together. Like, you know, I might let that dry a little bit and then come back in this corner and add a little bit more eyeliner up under there. Okay, push that down pretty well there. They're just so long. I just feel like they don't need to be that long. Okay, we'll grab our other one here. I really feel like the eyelashes pop a lot more when you use glitter too on the makeup, but like you guys said, we don't really need glitter on here. Putting this on pretty thick. Got a scraggler over here in this corner. It's not being uniform with the rest of the lashes. Naturally just laid in that crease. I don't understand. They look bigger on the inside. They're longer on the inside than on the outside. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't they be longer on the outside and littler on the inside of the eye? Man, this one just doesn't want to stick very well. I have to set it down. Might need a little more glue here, or just let it set for a minute. These eyelashes are kind of coming out of the strip. I've already pulled two out of this corner. Let me put some glue down on the actual piece here. Sometimes it works a little bit better if you set it actually on the bisque versus trying to put it on the eyelash. You can lay a little bit more glue down there. And remember, this stuff does dry clear, so I'm not worried that there's some excessive glue on here, because it'll be fine once it dries. So I'm just using that tool to kind of push along the base of the lashes to make sure it's sat down and it's connected to the bisque, and it's not just kind of sitting on top there. Yeah, there's two different. There's a white Tamaya gloss and then there's a clear, and they both kind of look the same on Amazon. So you want to make sure it says clear. And again, there is a link to that on my website. It's just a link. I don't get any kind of affiliate marketing for that. So I just try to make it easier for you guys to find the products that I do use. So those really are still pretty ridiculously long, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna grab my nail detail brush here, my green one, and thicken up this eyeliner on the underneath side of the eye. Pick up a little bit more high flow acrylic here on my tray. So you can see right up underneath the eye where I have black, and then I have the skin tone, and then I have white up under the lashes. So I'm going to go ahead and just thicken up that, try to blend that line, make it a little bit thicker so the eyelash blends in a little bit more. You can come all the way up to the white. If you leave the white, you still have the highlight on the eye. I mean, I guess you can cover that up too if you want, but I like to have that highlight on the high spots. Just coming right up along that line there and adding some black to thicken up her eyeliner. On this side, we're going to thicken this corner up here. Okay. That's pretty much it for her face. I mean, I don't really think like what else I can do on there, but I am going to grab some black pastel powder. Doesn't really look like it would make much of a difference with the black, but it really actually does. And especially like here, you can see where I got I dry brushed some of the shade, the skin tone on there. So just picking up, and you really need a pretty big brush for this part because it's going to be, you know, there's a lot of deep crevices here. So I'm going to just go and pick up black and first pick up right up underneath here, up underneath this side of the face. I want to cover up all that brown, so I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down the side of the face here. I'm going to bring that black all the way up underneath this part of her hair and all the way into that little turn underneath. I'm just kind of sharpening up the edges here of the face. Okay, I want to go up here and I'm going to really darken up this top part of this first section of hair. So along my headband here, I need a shadow, and I can go ahead and pull that shadow out a little bit. Up underneath this side, I need a shadow. All the way up under here, I need a shadow. Now this is going to be pretty subtle, you guys, because, you know, we're painting black on black. But basically all we're doing here is we are trying to create a little bit more contrast up in these dark shadow areas. Okay, so up here, I'm definitely going to want some black in this crease here where we have a really dark shadow. And then of course up underneath her hair here where we've got some brown dry brushed on her hair, we'll go ahead and cover that up. I'm going to come up underneath here and just darken the shadow under the hair here, especially in this corner here. You may want to come down in some of these dark spots, but it's not necessary. You know, we're basically just trying to get around the face to sharpen that contrast up around the shadow of her cheek lines. So really push that black powder down into that crease along the face. You can see down here I got some copper dry brushed on this part of her hair here, so I'm going to try to cover that up with black. I'm going to come up in this dark corner here and pull that color down. I'm going to come all the way down with this one. All the way down in this dark crevice here. All the way up underneath the chin. And again, this part can be done pretty quick because like we said earlier, it's black powder on top of black paint. So you're not going to get a tremendous amount of contrast. What you are going to get is you're going to get a lot of coverage of mistakes that you might have made on the dry brushing part. So we're just kind of covering up all those lines along the creases. As far as around the feather here, we'll go ahead and shade up underneath the medallion and down into the middle of the feather. Make sure you get underneath that medallion really well and come down right down the midline here. I'll flip it around, do the same thing on the top of the medallion, into the midline. up the center of the feather. Okay, and then on this feather here, I've got another deep shadow here. So I'm going to go ahead and shade underneath this one and in the middle of this feather. Just go all the way down. And come back and blend this out a little bit. Wow. I wish you guys could see these in person because I feel like the light, when I'm looking at it on my computer, it just doesn't look the same as it does when I'm looking at it in person. It's bananas to me that looks so different. But anyway, that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm not really going to do, excuse me, much more to this. I'm not going to do anything else really to it. I mean, I think she looks pretty good, and hopefully her cheeks aren't too bright. Maybe I'll do one more pass of bronze on her cheeks. Let me see, which brush did I use for that? Oh yeah, it was this one. I'm gonna just pick up one more pass of copper. I keep saying bronze, but copper on the cheeks. And I'm just like kind of tapping it on there. Thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys and your kind words. I really do hope these videos are helpful for you. And, you know, you don't have to do these skin tones, but the technique is all the same. No matter how you're contouring, you know, what colors you use, the technique is always going to be the same. We're going to contour the chin, we're going to contour the cheeks, we're going to contour the nose, we're going to contour the eyebrows, and then we add our makeup after. Now I am going to go back and spray this again just because I did one more pass of my bronzer color on here. However, and also if you want to do a second coat of the Tamaya clear gloss on the lips after you're all finished, if you have to spray it again, you can totally spray it and add another layer of Tamaya clear gloss. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. And like I said, if you missed how we got to the starting point of this piece, this project, it was a dry brushing, 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, a dry brushing event I did on Facebook Live today. So you can view that if you want to see how we did the first half of this project. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like and share this video into some of your ceramic groups so we can get people, you know, using pastels and also just doing that little bit of extra stuff to make your guys' pieces sell for the highest amount when you go to your craft fairs and your shows, or maybe you just sell online. You know, I think like really what I would do on the cheeks, highlighting the cheeks. I'm just gonna grab my number 4. You really could just kind of pick up a little tiny bit of white and tap right here in this corner to highlight underneath the eye. Kind of just lay it down to start, and then you kind of tap blend it in. And this just kind of adds a little bit more of a highlight in the corners of the cheeks. You don't have to do this part, of course. All of these things are optional. This is just that extra little step that you can take. You know, and I just wish you could see them in person. A little tiny bit on the tip of the corner of the cheekbone here. Just blend that out. That's just straight white. And then, you know, I also might want to add just straight white on the very tip of the nose here. I'll go ahead and just pull up a little bit on the top of the nose. Come down a little tiny bit here. This is just your highlight, of course. You don't have to do this part. That's it. Maybe I might put also a tiny little bit on top of the chin here. Kind of keep that like half rainbow, half moon shape, kind of crescent shape there. And you can kind of come back and blend that in a little bit. That's it, guys. I'm going to spray her one more time. I'll add another layer of the gloss on her lips, but you don't need to stick around for that. I really appreciate all of you guys watching, and are you going to be the person who wins one of these masks? Every time that you share these videos on your personal page or on a ceramics group page, you will be entered in one entry to, and to get these, to win these masks. And I'll do a giveaway a week probably. I'm going to do one mask a week. So next week we'll do the white tiger. Everybody really wanted to see the white tiger versus the orange tiger, so that's what we'll do in the next class. Anyway, please comment, let me know if this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share and all that fun stuff, and I appreciate you guys. I really hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much again. Appreciate you guys. Bye.